Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2020. We have another video here for you today. We're going to hopefully be a pretty short one. As you can see on the screen here, we do have a project that I'm going to be assigning today. It's a big one. It's really not that big. It's not going to take you too much time to do, but I do want you to put some effort into it, and you'll be rewarded with a lot of points. I'm going to make it about 40 or 50 point assignment, and I'll get into that in a second. But I do want to go over the announcements really quick. So Monday morning, grades were released to parents and to you to see how your progress has been going. Honestly, about half the class I'm very pleased with, and about the other half I'm a little disappointed in. For me as a teacher, and every teacher is trying to do this, what I'm trying to figure out is if you're student A or student B. Okay, student A is the student that doesn't have access to internet. It's spotty. The devices are being awful. Somebody in their life has been affected with the coronavirus. They just don't have the ability to get the work done. There is also student B. That student is simply relaxing at home, has internet access, and is just choosing not to do the work. And if anybody ever comes up to that student and says, "Hey, why didn't you do the work?" they'll give the excuse, "Oh, my iPad wasn't working." But their iPad has been working just fine. You hopefully can see why it's hard for me. I'm not at your house. I don't get to see you. I don't get to talk to you a lot. So trying to figure out student A from student B is extremely difficult. There is one thing that you can do to make it very easy. And I have to make my life easy too, and I'll explain that in a second. But what you can do is to contact me and let me know and update me with all of your issues. Okay? So if you can't access Google Classroom, your iPad's giving you issues, your internet's down, you can still get a hold of me in several different ways. Okay? If you do have a phone that is able to text and stuff like that, the Remind app you can download, and you're in the Remind class and you can get in contact with me, hopefully no problem. If you just have a cell phone or a telephone in any sort, and you have no internet whatsoever, call the school, leave a message, and they can get in contact with me. I don't think many people are in that exact situation. I think most of you have cell phones with the ability to connect. You can also go to the school. If you're close enough in the car, don't get out of the car, but you can get close to the school and sign on to the internet and send me a quick email letting me know. That's fine too. Like, there's 100 different ways that you can get in contact with me, so I know that you're legitimately student A. If you don't find a way to contact me and you're not doing any of the work, I just have to assume you're student B. That's what makes my life a little bit easier and less stressful. I just have to assume everybody's a student B unless they can prove to me that they're student A. I'm not going to assume everybody's a student A because I know that's not the case. I saw how many cell phones have I had to take away throughout this school year? Okay. I know you guys have them. I know you guys know how to connect. I know you guys are very, very good with technology. That's usually not the issue. So you need to prove to me that you are having technical issues if you are. Okay. So contact me, communicate with me. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. If you are not, and you're choosing not to do the work, it has not happened yet. But by the end of next week, I'm going to start lowering grades for students that are not doing their work. Okay, you've had a lot of time to get the work in, to figure out how to get this internet thing going, to figure out how to sign on to Remind, to figure out how to contact me, all of that. You've had a chance. And at a certain point, I have to start lowering grades. If I were to actually have lowered grades for students that have not been doing the work for this last couple of weeks, some of your grades would look extremely different. Okay, I would say about half of the students would have lower than a D. D's or lower if I were to do what I should be doing in terms of lowering the grades. Okay, so enjoy that one more week where it's not affecting your grade right now. However, if you've done the work, you should see your grades shoot up right away. that I think is pretty obvious. This big project that I'm going to get into now, if you do this, your grade's going to shoot up. Okay. And I'm giving you a benefit of the doubt. I'm giving you the, if you're trying your best and turning it in, you're going to get full credit. If you don't, at a certain point, your grades are going to be lowered. So anyway, that's my biggest concern as a teacher is if you're student A or if you're student B. If you've been doing all the work, obviously you're neither one of those and you're good to go. But if you haven't been doing the work, I know you're either student A or student B. And so right now I'm telling you, I'm going to assume you're student B until I have some reason to think that you're student A with you contacting me in some way. All right, now let's talk about the project, okay? So I'm going to erase my email address here. So the project, you have a couple of steps, okay? So there's a website, and of course I'll share the link with you. It's called italianrenaissance.org. Okay, so if you don't even, for some reason, want to go here, you can see it here. It's called italianrenaissance.org. I like this website. I actually looked through several. I like this website because it is a nonprofit. You know it's a nonprofit because of the .org. So that means that they're not trying to sell you anything. You won't see a lot of ads in this stuff, and it doesn't take you to a bunch of different other websites. So what I want you to do is click on this link, and it's going to take you to this website, okay? When you get to this website, you're going to see a bunch of different pieces of artwork and sculptures, the things that we were talking about yesterday. All right. And what I want you to do is browse through this, and I want you to select one piece of artwork that captures your attention, that really draws you to the painting or the sculpture. It could also be that. You can find a bunch more if you go to painting or if you go to sculpture. If you go to the painting, you'll see a bunch of different ones. You'll see a bunch of links here on the side. You just scroll through it. Okay. So, for instance, this one, Michelangelo's Pieta. All right, I've actually seen this in person. This is located in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican, which is the capital of the Roman Catholic Church. I visited it once and saw this. It's kind of just you enter this huge church, and then a little bit to the right, there's this little statue, and then you realize, oh my gosh, that's Michelangelo, one of the most famous people to ever live. Not the most famous artist, but one of the most famous people to ever live. Guys, they named the Ninja Turtles after these guys. That's how popular and famous they are. So these are no joke, legit celebrities. And his masterpiece is there. And it'll give you a little bit of information on it. It'll tell you why it's so important. It'll give you a bunch of information. You don't even have to research anything. Okay, so again, some of the popular ones, Da Vinci, Leonardo, Titian, Bellini's. There's Raphael has several as well. This will give you really good starting point to find a piece of artwork that you like. It could be a painting, it could be a sculpture, it could be the Sistine Chapel, whatever. Okay, what you're going to do is you're going to find that. So I'll put that step one. Browse the website and find one painting or sculpture. Whoa. Sculpture. Can't spell right now. That appeals to you. Okay. Now, some of them, when you look at them, you might be thinking, well, what's so special about them? But if you read about them and start to see, oh my gosh, this is, The Last Supper it has a huge backstory to it. Or the Sistine Chapel. Like, there's a bunch of stuff in here. You can browse through it, pick one. You can also go through Google and find another website that you think has other stuff. But basically, you just need to search a Renaissance painting or sculpture that really, really appeals to you. Once you have that, okay, so for instance, I'm going to take this one. This one I remember vividly. I'll never forget seeing that, walking into the cathedral and seeing that. It's behind a piece of glass, and it's just beautiful. And the amount of, guys, this is a piece of marble, right? It's just a block. And look at the detail that he was able to do in this cloth. Like, it looks real. It looks real. It looks incredible. The symmetry in the body of how, the muscles, how this person looks limp, even though it's a rock, like it's a marble rock, he looks limp. It's breathtaking. So whatever you find, read about it, get to know it. Okay. Then what you're going to do is you're going to create a Google slideshow. Okay.
According to Wikipedia, a slideshow is a presentation of a series of still images
Thanks,
on a
Google.
projection screen or electronic display device, typically in a prearranged sequence.
Okay. Thanks, Google. That's my Google Home there, telling me what a PowerPoint is. That's awesome. Anyway, okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to create a slideshow. I'm not going to say that again in case it goes off again. Okay. And you're going to have a couple of, here are the slides that you'll have. Number one, you'll introduce the painting. So probably get a picture of it and show it on slide number one. On slide number two, you're going to explain why it's a masterpiece. Okay, these are masterpieces. And three, I want you to explain, give some, give details about the artist. Okay, so if you chose to do, if you chose to do this one, right? Well, you're going to say, okay, here is Pieta. It is a sculpture made out of marble. It was created in 1498. It is of the Virgin Mary. You've seen her son Jesus after he was put on the cross, and the story behind it, and why it's considered a masterpiece, where it's located. All those sorts of things could be included into your explanation of the art. Then what you'll do is you'll research a little bit about Michelangelo himself. Okay, Michelangelo, he also is the guy that painted the Sistine Chapel, the guy that painted on the roof of the most famous church in existence. He's also the guy that made the statue of David, probably that statue we saw yesterday, the most famous statue ever created. He created those two. So there's a lot to go with Michelangelo. Obviously, he's one of the more famous guys ever of this time period, but you're going to explain about him. Okay, that's basic stuff. I don't think I need to explain that much further. Step 4, however, I would like you to try to recreate the painting or sculpture. Oh, I put in an H in there. It's crazy. Sculpt. Can't spell sculpture, man. It's crazy. Okay, sculpture. On your own. Okay, so you're basically going to try to recreate the masterpiece. Okay, now are you going to make it out of marble? No, but what you can do is draw it by hand and try to recreate it on your own. Okay, and I'm telling you, these things are masterpieces. You're not going to be able to recreate them perfectly. There's no doubt about it. But I want you to just try to appreciate every little part of this as you try to recreate it on your own. Don't just do it quickly. Don't try to trace it. None of that. Just try to recreate it on your own, understanding the intricacies, the details that have went into this. If you pick, another painting, for instance, this is another famous one. I remember seeing this one in Italy. Most of these are still in Italy today, to be honest. This is The Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay, so this is Jesus right before he goes to be killed. He has one last supper with all of his buddies, and the amount of, you can see the disciples here talking about what Jesus must have just said. You can see the perspective, right? You have things going to the center. It has a lot of stuff going on. There's also like rumors surrounding this that it's on a wall. You can never move this. It's very interesting. So if you wanted to try to do that, then you're going to recreate this on your own. So on a blank piece of paper, try to recreate it, color it, noticing some of these things we've been talking about, like the perspective, the story behind it, the details. Look at the details up here. You can see everybody's having their own conversation. Each one of these are actual disciples you can look up. They have a whole story, a whole history. So all of that you can, I want you to try to recreate. Okay, so that'll be the big part. So this is a decent sized project. There's no doubt. You have big 4 steps here. Okay, your Google slideshow goes here, and then on your own, you're going to take a picture of you recreating the painting or sculpture on your own. Take your time with this. I'm giving you a couple of days. Really sit down and try to make it amazing. Try to settle down. Lightly use your pencils. Make a couple of drafts, practice. Don't just put it all together in stick figures and tell me that's the Last Supper, but actually try to see why people consider these to be the greatest pieces of art that the human race has ever created. All right, that's what people think of these things. So that's your goal. You can go ahead and pause this, and I'll go ahead and put this up on Google as well for the instructions. But that's what we're going to be doing for today, and pretty much tomorrow. I'll probably have another lecture on Thursday or so we can continue on for those that are done. And that'll be your big project, okay? Let's go ahead and make it crazy. Let's do it. It's worth 50 points, all right? 50-point assignment. And that should boost a lot of your guys' grades if you take your time on this, okay, and do a good job. All right, that's it. That's Mr. Sanchez for today. Go ahead and get that stuff done, and I will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Mr. Sanchez signing off.